So we did an example on this also. The example was that you are at Mumbai and the longitude and latitude are given, and on a particular day, that is 21st of January, if it is 9:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time, that is the time that you see in your watch, and but that's not the local apparent time or the solar time for that place, because the Indian Standard Time is based on the meridian passing through Shankargarh near Allahabad, that is 82.5 degrees east, while your longitude may not be same. So you want to find out what will be the local apparent time at that place when it is 9:30 a.m. in the watch. Um, uh, so for that you have to first find out the equation of time correction, which you get with the help of the equation that is shown here, and that is what you get it is in minutes, and then you use this equation for LAT, that is local apparent time. So standard time is 9:30, so 9.5 you should write it in fraction, plus 4 by 60. Uh, uh, so that's for 4 minutes for each degree. And then the difference between local longitude and standard time longitude. So that difference will be put here, and you have to uh, write it in the right sequence. So local longitude is to be written first and then minus standard time. So here even the second term would be negative, and the equation of time correction is also negative, because what you get in from the equation is in minutes. You have to divide it by 60. So doing that, you would get the time to be 8.68. So that's in fraction. So if you convert it, like 68 is out of 100. So out of 60, how much it is? So that's 41, right? So it is 8:41 a.m. For Mumbai on 21st of January. If your watch is showing 9:30. So your watch is like when you are on the western side, your watch time is ahead of the actual solar time at that particular place. But the angle made by, let's say, the sun ray would depend upon the local time. So that's why we are interested in this local time. And then the formula for declination angle is known, and you put the value n equal to, in this case, it is equal to 21. So you get the declination angle, right? Okay. Now let's start talking about other angles which are going, we will need to evaluate those angles. We will need to evaluate those angles to be able to finally find the angle at which the sun ray is coming, right? So finally the number that is of interest to us is this theta, that is incidence angle. So what is this diagram? You should try and draw this diagram now, or maybe later. This is one of the very important diagrams. Here a plane is shown, and this plane can be a solar collector, surface of the solar collector. You can assume it to be the, let's say, the solar photovoltaic panel, or it can be the flat surface of a solar flat plate collector, which may be used as a solar water heater, for example, right? So that surface, as you can see, is not kept horizontal, but it is making angle beta with the horizontal, right? Angle beta with the horizontal, and this angle is called tilt angle. This angle is called tilt angle. So that is the angle made by the surface of the collector plane with the horizontal plane. So if you have seen the collectors around you, the rooftop is now very becoming very common, or even the flat plate collector for water heating, or even that tubular collector. you must have noticed that they are not kept horizontal, but they are kept at a certain angle. So there is a reason for that. So as we will learn the things further, you will be able to understand and appreciate why it is kept at a particular angle and not horizontal. Okay, so this angle is called tilt angle, and the notation given is beta. So whatever notation I have used here, uh, uh, like all should follow those notations to avoid any confusion, because different books may give different symbols, but it is recommended that you use the same symbol that I use, so that the communication is easier and there is no confusion. So this is the tilt angle. That's the angle made by the collector plane with the horizontal surface. So that is one angle that we are concerned about, or we wish we would like to know to do the further calculations. Now other angle or other angles, we'll start talking about them one by one. Uh, Let us first draw a normal or the perpendicular, this line, to the solar collector. So you can read this, it's written N and it is normal to collector plane. So this line is normal to the collector plane. Now the sun ray, if you draw a line joining this point P on the plane of the surface of the collector, then they make an angle, or the sun ray makes some angle with the normal to the collector, and that is given this notation theta. This angle is called incidence angle, and that is the perhaps most important angle that we wish to calculate, or we wish to know further about this angle. Why is this angle so important? Ideally, a collector should always be kept such that the normal to the collector coincide with the sun ray, or in other words, you can say the sun ray ideally should strike at 90 degrees to the collector plane. But that is an ideal thing. If a collector is perfectly tracking the sun, that will be the case all the time. But many of the collectors are fixed type of collector, as you must have noticed that the solar water heater or even solar PV panels, they are fixed collectors. Sometimes some flexibility is given in changing this angle, tilt angle beta, right? So annually you might be changing it a few times. That is that flexibility may be there, but normally the perfect tracking of solar collector is not done. It's not very common. It means that there will be always some angle between the normal to the collector and the sun ray. And what is the disadvantage of that? The input energy which is coming from the sun, let's say I, all of it will not be available to the collector. We are talking about the input to the collector. We are not talking about the efficiency of the collector, right? So even if like collector, the sun ray is having, let's say radiation flux or irradiance equal to I, let's say 1000 watt per meter square. All 1000 will not be available. I'm saying input, even input won't be 1000 because of this angle, right? If it is perfectly perpendicular, then all 1000 is available. Then how much out of that you are able to convert? That's the like that depends upon the collector parameters, right? But input would be 1000 if it is coinciding with this normal, but it is not coinciding with this normal, making an angle theta. So how much would be the input energy to this collector? It would be I cos theta. So only the cos theta component of the energy available in the sun ray would be available for use, would be available as input energy. So that's why it's important to know angle theta at a given point of time and at a given location, on the surface of the earth. Okay, so that is one angle. Now to find this angle, we will, the formula for finding this angle or cos theta of this angle would be given, and that would need knowledge of many other angles. So let us talk about those angles shown in this figure one by one. This normal to the collector, if you draw projection of that on the horizontal plane, it is this line. It is this line, right? So this line, as it is written here, is normal to plane on horizontal surface. So it's nothing but the projection of this normal on the horizontal plane. Now, as you can see, this line is making some angle with the north-south line. Now, you also might be knowing that in northern hemisphere, we normally keep the collectors facing the south. If the collector is kept perfectly facing the south, exactly facing the south, then this line, the normal to the plane on horizontal plane, collector plane on the horizontal plane, would coincide with north-south line with its face on towards the south. But we want to right now show a general case, so we have not shown this line coinciding with the north-south line, and it is making an angle. The notation used is gamma, and that is called azimuth angle. So this gamma is azimuth angle. That's the angle made by the normal to the plane on horizontal surface with the south direction. If it is on the eastern side, you take it positive. If it is on the western side, you take it negative. Right? So that's the another angle, that is azimuth angle. That basically talks about the direction that the solar collector plane is facing. Then the sun ray, if you draw the projection of the sun ray on horizontal plane, this is that line. It is shown projection of sun ray on the horizontal plane. So that makes some angle. So the sun is not exactly on the south, right? Not exactly on the south. If it is exactly on the south, that happens. When does that happen? I told that in the previous class. That will happen when it is the noon, that is 12 hours local time. At that time, this projection will be exactly coinciding with the south, north-south line, but it's not 12 noon for that place at a given point of time. So in that case, this will not coincide with that north-south line, or sun is not exactly towards the south direction, and it's making an angle gamma s, which is called solar azimuth angle, gamma s. As you can see, this line is on the west side of south, right? So this must be afternoon, right? You can tell this based on the angle made by this line with the south direction, whether on the western side, whether it is on the western side or whether it is on eastern side. And when it is on the western side, we take it negative, and when it is on the eastern side, we take it positive. So gamma s is the angle made by the projection of the sun ray on horizontal plane with the south direction. So that's another angle that has been defined now. Now this sun ray is making some angle with its own projection on the horizontal plane, and and that is uh, called angle alpha, the declination angle alpha, that is declination angle.
Sir, this gamma I could not able to understand, sir. Normal to the plane on horizontal surface. So there is the horizontal surface, sir. Plane on the horizontal surface.
Okay. I will prefer that you put it in the chat box in case there is a query, because if you unmute yourself, there will be so many different types of noises which will be coming. So better you write it in the chat box, right? Most probably I will not miss it. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. Okay. I'll try to explain it again. Uh, uh, in a way, the diagram is self-explanatory. Uh, uh, I'm trying to explain you the things with the help of this. So this is a see, you have to involve your imagination in this, and maybe you take a notebook with you and make it like make it inclined to the horizontal plane at some angle, and to the horizontal plane, so that's angle beta, right? And this is the line which is normal to this plane. So it's a 3D dimensional concept, and when you draw normal to that, right? So this is the line, right? Which is on the horizontal plane. You can say this line, and when you draw it, when you draw a line which is perpendicular to this, then it is the normal to the horizontal plane, right? And this normal to the horizontal plane, like if you have kept your collector exactly facing the south, then this line will coincide with the south line, right? So in that case, you in that case, this angle gamma would be equal to 0. Okay, but this tilt and this angle are two different things, right? You can make it put it at an angle beta, but then on you can rotate it about that, right? You can rotate it about that, right? So if you take a notebook and make it inclined at let's say this tilt angle with the horizontal plane, you can still rotate that line. This line, which is in contact, right? You can make it rotate a full circle, right? Now when you rotated it such that facing the south. I hope you are able to hear me. You can write yes in the chat box. There was some disturbance, it seems. But now it has gone, it seems. So yeah, so I'll continue further. Okay, so this line which is perpendicular to this line, right? The line which is, you can say, in contact with the horizontal plane is the normal to the plane in horizontal on horizontal surface. So right now, as it is shown, it is not coinciding with the north-south line, and it is towards the east side, right? So this collector is slightly rotated towards east direction. Okay. And this angle gamma is positive, and it has having a finite value. Let's say it is having value equal to 25 degrees. Okay, so that's about the uh, this angle gamma, that is surface azimuth angle, that basically shows the direction the surface is facing. Okay, then we talked about this angle, that is the solar azimuth angle, right? So when it is noon, then the projection of the sun ray on the horizontal plane would exactly coincide with the north-south line, and it is noon time, 12 hours. But then if it is morning, this line projection of the sun ray would be towards the east, and if it is afternoon, it will be towards the west. So this angle is the solar azimuth angle, the angle made by the sun ray with the north-south line. Now this projection of the sun ray on horizontal plane and the sun ray itself, there is an angle between them, and that angle is called altitude angle, alpha s, as it is shown here, or you can even write just alpha, the altitude angle. Now what is this altitude angle? Basically the height of the sun is shown by this altitude angle. If the sun is perfectly overhead, then angle alpha would be 90 degrees, and at the time of the sunrise and sunset, it would be 0 degrees, right? It would be 0 degrees at the time of sunrise and at the time of sunset. So that's the altitude angle, basically shows the height of the sun in the sky. Then the line which is perpendicular to the horizontal surface, right? That is called zenith. That is called zenith. So this angle made by sun ray with the zenith is called theta z, as you can read here. It is called zenith angle, and this theta z plus alpha would be equal to 90 degrees, right? So they are complementary to each other. If alpha is less, then the theta z would be high, and vice versa. When the sun is exactly overhead, theta z would be equal to 0. The sun is exactly overhead at that point of time, and in that case the alpha s would be equal to 90 degrees. Okay, would be equal to 90 degrees. So this is the angle that we are talking about, the zenith angle, right? That's the angle between the sun ray and the sun ray and the zenith. Okay. So I have discussed all the angles here, and these angles would be used to get, as I told, the most important angle, theta, that is the incidence angle, right? And this alpha s would be, the value would be maximum at the time of noon, right? At the time of solar noon, it would be maximum. It will not reach 90 degrees all the time. It will not reach 90 degrees all the time, but the maximum value will occur at the time of the solar noon. And the opposite thing is true about the theta z, right? Opposite thing is true about the theta z, that is, at the time of solar noon, theta z would be minimum for that day, and Mr. Ajay Prabhakar, you got unmuted. I don't know how. So theta z, the value will be minimum at the time of the solar noon, right? Though it will not be reach 0 value every day. Okay. So let's go further. We discussed about the solar azimuth angle and the other angles. Now let's talk about this thing called air mass. So let me explain that. Air mass, though the name is air mass, the unit is not kg, but it is rather unitless, and the definition is like this. You can see the earth is shown here, the atmosphere of the earth is shown, sun is shown, and then if you take a particular point on the surface of the earth at this point of time the sun is overhead and the ray is coming from that direction, and then at some other point of time it is not exactly overhead, so it is coming from some at an angle. So what is important about to observe here is that when the sun is overhead, the path that the sun ray has to travel inside the atmosphere is the least, the shortest path. And when the sun ray is coming at an angle, then the path is longer. The path is longer, right? And that's what relative distance that we want to show with the help of this parameter called air mass, right? So now a small part of this is shown here, and this small arc is showing the surface of the earth. Actually you should consider it to be just a horizontal line because we are taking a very small portion here. So even this line you consider it to be a straight line. Now if the sun ray is traveling in a straight line, then the distance traveled by the sun ray inside the atmosphere is x. That's the minimum distance that it can travel. Then at some other point of time, the distance that it has to travel is y. So this ratio of y upon x, right, which would be 1 or more than that, is called air mass. So it's just a relative distance between the when the sun is overhead and the sun is shining from some other angle. So as you can see, it is shown here that AM is 1 when the sun is overhead, that is the shortest distance. AM 0 is assigned to the extraterrestrial solar radiation, that is radiation that you would get outside Earth's surface. And basically you can get AM, air mass, as 1 upon cos theta z, right? Theta z is the angle made by the this in a way is zenith. This line is zenith, or this line is zenith, and then some angle is made with that, so that is basically theta z. So 1 upon cos theta z or sec theta z would give you the value of air mass. So if the angle is, let's say, 48.2, then it is equivalent to like this ratio of y upon x would be 1.5. So it is called air mass 1.5. So, and like whatever is the angle at which the sun rays are coming or sun is shining, you can find out that angle, and 1 upon sec theta would give you air mass, the parameter called air mass. Now why is this air mass important? As it was covered in the previous class, air mass is nothing, it was told in the previous class that when the sun rays enter into Earth's atmosphere, they undergo different type of attenuation. That is, some part of it get reflected, some part of it gets scattered, and through like the light will come throughout from, or radiation will come from the whole hemisphere of the sky. Because of the scattering, there'll be some absorption. So all these phenomena will occur more obviously if the sun ray is coming from an angle. So the most ideal case is AM 0 you can't achieve because you are on the surface of the earth. So most ideal thing on the surface of the earth is AM 1, where there will be least attenuation of the solar radiation. You will get more direct radiation, less of diffuse radiation, provided that there are there are less clouds and less pollution, etc. So that's the most ideal thing that you can get, but that hardly happens. It is always coming at an angle. So when it is coming at an angle, in a way you can say that the quality of the radiation is poor. Why do I say so? Because the direct radiation percentage would reduce. More this angle or more the air mass, the direct radiation percentage would reduce and the diffuse radiation percentage would increase, and in addition to that the intensity also would be less. Okay. So when you have to test the solar collectors, you have to state at what air mass has it been tested. And normally AM 1.5 is taken as a standard condition for testing the solar collector. So at different air masses, its performance would be different. So if you tested it at air mass 1.5, obviously when it is less than that, air mass is less than that, you can expect the collector to perform better, and vice versa. So this is the importance of the concept of air mass. Okay. So there are different angles which we have already discussed, this tilt angle and the surface azimuth angle. So now finally we are able to talk about the incidence angle. We are able to talk about the incidence angle. Yeah, so somebody asked when AM is 0. In a way, it's an imaginary concept, right? That is, AM on this, when you are on the surface of the Earth, AM, minimum AM would be 1, right? Minimum AM would be 1. But then if you're outside Earth's surface, then the atmosphere is 0, right? No travel path inside the atmosphere. So that has been assigned a value AM 0. Otherwise, like normally, we are not like, unless you are talking about some space application, like you will not encounter AM less than 1. So it is always 1 and more than that. And extraterrestrial solar radiation, that is what you get outside Earth's surface, is assigned a value AM 0, right? So that is air mass 0. Okay. So finally, we are at this incidence angle, and this is the formula for incidence angle. So there are different angles involved in this, right? Different angles involved in this. What are the angles? Now you should be familiar with these terminology. So cos theta, that is cos of the incidence angle, you can get by this formula. Seems to be a lengthy formula. You may have to use this formula. You don't have to remember this formula, but if it is provided and you are required to do the calculation, you should be able to use this formula. So you should know all these terms, and you should not be making any mistake in this calculation. So phi is what? Phi is the latitude angle, delta is the declination angle, beta the tilt angle, then this gamma the surface azimuth angle, omega the hour angle. So all these angles are involved. If you want to get at a given point of time, at a given point or geographical location on the surface of the Earth, if you want to know at what angle is the sun ray going to strike my collector surface, you need to use this formula. Of course, it will be continuously changing with the time, right? But for a given point of time, you can get it with this formula. So you can write down this formula, and you may have to use this formula in some of the examples. So as of now, you write it down, and then in a minute or so, I'll explain it, or we'll go further from this point. Okay, so I hope you have written it down, and now we can talk about some special cases as it is written here, like if your collector is exactly facing the south. First thing, of course, the first case taken is that your collector is horizontal, then beta would be equal to 0 degrees, right? Most of the times we don't keep it horizontal, but there could be some application. Let's say you are targeting only summer, then you might keep it horizontal. Or let's say you want to calculate the radiation on the horizontal surface. So the application is not all the time solar collector, but let's say you want to find out how much heat is collected on the surface of your terrace, which is horizontal. So in that case, your beta tilt angle would be equal to 0 degrees. Now, in that case, this formula will get quite simplified because beta is equal to 0. So you can take this as an assignment. Maybe formally I will give an assignment the way I have given one assignment today. And I hope you are able to access that. And then so this, if your beta is equal to 0, then this formula will get very much simplified, like your sine beta. So sine 0 is 0, so this will vanish. Then cos beta, so your cos 0 is 1, so this will become just 1. Then again you have cos beta here, which will become 1. Here you have sine beta, which will vanish the term, and again the last term also will vanish. So this formula will get very much simplified, and you will see this thing, right? That is cos theta. Now why have I written theta z here? Because actually when you are actually when you are saying that beta is equal to 0, you are talking about the radiation. You are talking about radiation on horizontal surface. So your normal to your surface is nothing but the zenith, and the angle would become, incidence angle would become equal to zenith angle. So that's why this is also the formula for theta z, the zenith angle. So you can do this very simple exercise. Put your beta equal to 0 degrees and see how the formula changes. And basically, this gives you a formula for theta z, that is zenith angle. So if you have to calculate zenith angle, this is the formula that you can use. Right? You can make other special cases. For example, let's say your beta is equal to 90 degrees. Let's say your collector is vertical. Of course, most of the times you don't keep it vertical, but then let's say you are talking about a vertical surface. Okay, so in that case, what changes will happen to this formula? So on a vertical surface, what is the formula that will be available? You can try that. Then sometimes the collector may be kept exactly facing the south. It means your gamma is equal to 0. So if gamma is equal to 0, what are the changes that will happen in this formula? So you can do those kind of simplifications for special cases. Okay, so now there is one example which is given here. You can write down the example. So the incidence angle is to be found for a solar collector at New Delhi, whose longitude and latitude are given, and the day is 22nd of February and the time is 2 p.m. So you want to find out what is the incidence angle, and this collector is inclined at what angle? Is inclined at the latitude angle, right? So beta is same as phi, latitude angle. And how much is your gamma? It is 20 degrees east of south, right? 20 degrees east of south. So 20 degrees east of south. So your gamma is equal to 20 degrees positive. When it is towards east, it is positive. And also find zenith angle at this time. Let's try and get the things. I hope you are with your calculators. So first thing is equation of time correction. So your day number is what? Day number is 31 plus 22, that is 53. So you have to find out B, and from that you get the equation of time correction. You already done this kind of exercise previously, so I don't expect it to do that now. I'm giving you the number. So the number is minus 13.87 minutes from equation of time correction. This is the number that you get. And then hour angle, this kind of exercise is also already done to you. So though you can take this, you can solve it completely yourself later on. As of now, I'm just explaining you the example, the procedure of that. So this LAT, local apparent time, is again the formula is known to you. You put the required values here, you get the hour angle, and once you get LAT, then once you get LAT, you can find hour angle, right? So you get the hour angle. In this case, you should get it minus 21.17 degrees. That's the hour angle. Hour angle, so you are in afternoon, so hour angle would be negative, right? And hour angle would be negative, and you are talking about 2 p.m. So accordingly, the value. Now the declination angle again depends upon the day number, right? So on that day, that is 22nd of this February, you get it minus 10.87 degrees, because like in December it would be minus 23.45, and then you are talking about February, you are close to March where it will reach value of 0. So this is minus something in between, minus 10.87. Now you can use the formula for the incidence angle, and you can check this whether you get this number. So you should get the incidence angle 32.79 degrees. Incidence angle roughly 33 degrees, you can say. And then zenith, if you use the formula for zenith angle, then you will get it 44.4 degrees. So let's just remember these two numbers. I hope you can do the calculations, and with the help of these numbers, I would just like to explain you something. Let's go back to the diagram which was used to explain various angles. So what is the incidence angle? You can say 33, and what is the zenith angle? 44. So remember these two angles, 33 and 44. Let's go back to this diagram. Okay. So what you see here is that this angle theta is 33 degrees, and this theta z is 44 degrees, right? So of course here there is a big difference between those two, while in this case there is a not that big difference. So why have you this would explain you why you have kept the collector inclined. If collector were horizontal, then sun ray would have made 44 degrees with the collector, and you would be able to use only cos 44 degrees component of the radiation. But because you made it inclined by what angle, whatever is the latitude angle of that place, you made it inclined by that angle, and because of that you have been able to reduce the angle 44 degrees to 33 degrees, and you are getting somewhat higher input energy. Okay, so this is the reason why collector should be kept inclined. Of course, this you are talking about a particular day and a particular location, but in general also, like particularly in winter, when the collector is made inclined, you get more energy on the plane. As you like, you now, like, you know the procedure, so you can play with the numbers. For example, you take the same, all the data same, and just calculate it for, let's say, 1st of January, and you would get some insight into it, that it is even better in January, let's say 2 p.m. instead of 2 p.m. maybe you can take like say 12 noon or maybe 10 a.m. right? So you will realize that whether it is giving better performance in morning or in afternoon. Then the collector is made inclined at some angle to the east 20 degrees, but instead of that, if you make it perfectly facing the south, whether it would be advantageous at a particular point of time or it would not be advantageous. So all those kind of investigations can be done. But at least this example has demonstrated that because you made the collector inclined, at least on a given day and given time, you will be able to collect more energy with the help of this collector. Right? So that is what the understanding or insight that you get with the help of the example. Right? So the example is not just using a formula and replacing the like symbols with numbers and getting the right number. Like the procedure is important, and then finally whatever result you get, you have to understand what is the message given by those numbers. Okay, so with this I would conclude today's session.